The idea is a simple one: equal footing for each of the candidates. Same 3 questions, same interview, same setting. And we are pleased to be joined by Gina Ortiz Jones.
Hi.
Great to see you.
Likewise, Steve.
All right, first question. Why are you running for mayor?
I am running for mayor to make sure my community, my city is well led. I am a proud first-generation American, grew up on the far west side of San Antonio, know that my story is possible only because my country, my community invested in me, right? ROTC scholarship took me from John Jay High School to Boston University, and I was honored to serve our country as an intelligence officer in the Air Force. I'm an Iraq War veteran, and I most recently had the honor of serving as the Undersecretary of the Air Force. So managed $173 billion budget, led 600,000 people, and I look forward to bringing that leadership and that management experience and service to my city.
What do you think is the single most important issue facing San Antonio?
Well, it depends on who you talk to. I would argue, right? People, I think, recognize the opportunity that we have, but I think people also are wanting to make sure that we are moving together in the same direction. And you see that in a number of ways, right? Housing affordability, a constant topic that comes up. Frankly, whether you are living in a home that your family has owned for decades in Menke Park, but you are very concerned about property taxes going higher and higher, about you getting priced out of the community, whether you're a bartender at Sings, frankly, as I was just talking to a couple of weeks ago, who has to live all the way in Alamo Ranch, right? Because that's where he can afford something. To also, frankly, if you're on the wait list at Opportunity Home, or if you're one of the 95,000 working families that are housing insecure in our community. So housing is a big one, which is why I think it's really important that when we're thinking about these generational opportunities, like we potentially have with Project Marvel, we are thinking about them in the context of our generational challenges. So housing comes up quite a bit. I think people are also very concerned about the state of public education in our community, right? And I see this both as somebody that is a proud product of public education, to be very clear, proud product of all Title I schools: Adams Hill Elementary School, Pease Middle School, John Jay High School. I'm always going to rattle it off.
Shout out.
You know I'm going to. You know I'm going to. Because that is a community that I know, again, that our true national security, all my service has shown me this, in any country that I've served in, and certainly when you look at what's happening in our own country, true national security starts with economic security, and that starts right here at home. It starts with smart, healthy kids, right? It starts with government officials that understand to whom they are accountable. And it starts with much more transparency around how our taxpayer dollars are being spent in our community. So I think it's really important, for example, that we are looking at the long-term challenges that we have. For example, as I mentioned, public education comes up quite a bit, which is why I have put out my own plan, the things that I want to work on in the first 100 days. I think it's really important that we have a plan. There's lots of uncertainty right now in the country, given what's happening in Washington, D.C., what's happening in Austin. But even if we had a different president, we would still have the fact that over half of the kids in our community are not reading at level. Over half the kids in our community, their math skills are not at level. We'd still have 95,000 families housing insecure, struggling to pay the rent and mortgage every month. We'd still have 67,000 folks on that wait list at Opportunity Home, right? So first 100 days, one of the most important things I want to work on is looking at how much talent, and I phrase it that way specifically, how much talent are we leaving on the table as a result of not fully funding pre-K or SA in our community? How many kids is that? And if we wanted to pay for the bill, what is the bill, right? Because if we have, if we're looking at another publicly financed arena, if we're looking at other infrastructure that we understand to be important in our community, I would argue the most important infrastructure is always going to be that infrastructure that is ensuring we have the smartest and the healthiest kids in our community.
Final question for you. Why are you uniquely qualified to be mayor? Why Gina Ortiz Jones?
Well, I am proud to, again, have managed, having served as the Undersecretary of the Air Force, I managed a $173 billion budget. And for anybody that's familiar and having spent any time working in DOD, that's a complicated budgeting process. You actually are managing 4 budgets at one time, right? Given each of the years that you're working with, on top of having led 600,000 folks, right? Understanding at the end of the day that our best talent, our best resource is always going to be the men and women serving our country. At the end of the day, though, the Undersecretary's job was to answer 2 questions every single day, right? Do my folks have what they need to be successful to do the nation's work? And 2, are we making smart investments, right? I think that is fundamentally the 2 questions a mayor must ask themselves when they're looking at the challenges and opportunities before us. And lastly, I would argue I'm the only one that has demonstrated real urgency and a desire to address these things. We have lots of data, Steve, that shows us what the challenges in the communities are. Lots of data. I'm the one. That's why all the things I want to work on. First 100 days, right? Not 6 months, not 18 months. No, first 100 days. We know what the challenges are. We certainly have the talent in our community. We have the resources. I look forward to bringing the leadership to make sure we move our city forward.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.